to watch. Anytime, whether it's football or basketball, and you can get your school on national stage like we had this past year with the bowl game in football and the basketball team, it's just super for Marshall University. So I'm just excited about that. Anytime you're a football coach, you get ready to go to spring ball, the most important part of the program is what happens in the offseason, development of players that happen from the time they get finished up with the bowl game until the time spring ball starts. And so we're excited to, I told the team, last night when they got back, it's just so critical. All those numbers you have in the weight room right now, and the strength gains you've made, the weight gains you've made, it's just important you transition that out there on the football field to become football players. That's what spring ball provides us. We got a lot of players back. As you all know, the majority of football teams back, so it's just critical for us to go out there and take each practice and get better. And I'm excited about the two new coordinators, Tim Cramsey and of course Adam Fuller's been with us a long time. Todd Goebel will take a bigger role as a special team coordinator, along with being the co-offensive coordinator, so we coordinate the special teams along with myself and some of the other coaches. Excited to get back to work. Like the team's had a tremendous off season. Made a lot of gains in the weight room, but again, we transition that out to here, which starts tomorrow afternoon. So looking forward to it and getting ready to go tomorrow.
How much is a motivator in an off season where you have a good amount of success, a really good regular season, and having a really good bowl one? That could be just as good a motivator as any to get these kids in here fired up to improve what they did from the year before.
Well, anytime you come in, you go into an off season after winning a bowl game, it helps tremendously with the attitude. Everybody's got that. I mention all the time. You got a little bounce in your step. You get after. And this was a tougher winter this winter than what they had previous. We made sure that one thing we want to do as a coaching staff is not get complacent with any of these kids and make sure that we get better. And you don't stay the same. You get better, you get worse. And so it's so important that this team, with all the experience coming back, that they got to understand you got to start over. And that's what you have to do every year. You got to start over, and that includes starting from the first week of January in that weight room. It's got to be tougher than it was the year before. We got to demand more of them. We got to demand more leadership and that type of thing from the kids. And from that standpoint, I thought they got better. There's no question, coming off that year with winning that bowl game was so critical because it just again helps you get in the off season and just reinforces what you're trying to get done.
Have you had a spring here in which you've had so many players back?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think this is probably, the most starters we've had coming back since I've been here, I would think. So, it's just, like I say, it's critical that they all get better. That offensive line's back intact. I don't remember that happening here. They're all back here. Three of those guys were just freshmen a year ago, and I think, especially up front, hopefully we'll see the gains, the strength gains those guys have made. And even, Levi Brown was still pretty young. He played a lot, but he was a young guy who's increased not only his strength in the weight room, but also his weight. He's a 300-pounder now, and he was 275 a year ago, and played well at that weight. But let's say, man, see all those guys. Tyler, the running backs, the young running back Tyler King's he was 200 pounds the other day. So, all those guys, three receivers are all back. So they're back intact. And defensively, Shane Haynes was a young guy, just a year ago that's still starting to continue to grow up, and all that entire secondary, being back is going to help us.
Speaking of Channing specifically, since you brought him up, the bowl game, we've seen those leaps and bounds in bowl games before with guys. Do you feel like that sort of flipped the switch with him as far as seeing what his potential could be and taking that into the offseason?
He's just got to become more consistent with with everything he does. And I don't mean off the field. I mean, he's got to play that way all the time. And he's shown. I mean, even prior to that bowl game, there was times he played really well in there as a young guy. And he just has to continue to get strong, continue to get better, and this offseason has been an important one for him as well as spring ball will be.
With as many guys back as you have, I know that in the past you've tried some guys in new positions. Is there anybody that's you're just gonna test out during this 15 practice period at different spots?
Yeah, I know. Tim's gonna want to. All the time. The critical thing, got to get the balls in people's hands that can make plays, and regardless where you line them up. So we may line some guys up this spring in a little bit different places. Try to number one, get our best players on the field, and you may see multiple running backs in there at one time, or you may see multiple receivers. So just try to get the ball in the hands of our best players in space, and if one of those guys are that guy, then we'll find a way to get him on the field. So I don't think we have any just truly as far as position changes are concerned, but we'll line some guys up in some different places.
How important has the last month been for you to get to know Tim and Tim to get to know you, as far as getting ready for spring and building that chemistry between you all, that way you all can take that into the spring practice?
Well, we've had two coordinators together for so long, for 5 years between Chuck and there, and then all of a sudden now you look up and you got two new guys. Of course, Adam was there 5 years, so that won't change significantly. We played really good defense 4 to 5 years. We had Chuck here, and Adam was part of that. So, that transition, I pretty much understand what Adam wants to do. And there'll be some changes in there, but a lot of it will be the same as what we've done. We've been really good. But having Tim in there, and even Greg, Greg Atkins is a guy that's been a coordinator and had a lot of experience at different places. So he's brought a lot to the table too. So having the opportunity to work with Greg and Tim, and of course Todd's a tremendous football coach, and Dallas and all those guys. It's been a fun couple months. Now it's time to go out on the field and put it all together. So, but excellent. I'm really happy with where we are staff-wise. These guys are excellent coaches that do a good job.
How long have you known Tim, or when did you meet him?
Well, I've known of him. I can't say I've personally known him a long time. He's been just whenever he follows his career, wherever he's been successful. Going back to the New Hampshire days, and I tell you, he's the only quarterback in the history of college football is also their long snapper. So he's got must have some toughness about him, but he does. But again, he's been successful. He's brought up under Chip Kelly when Chip was there, and the coach there has always had tremendous success in New Hampshire. And so just kind of followed his career. And Alex Mirabal, as you all know before, knew Tim, coached with him for a year. So a lot about him from the guy I have great respect for. So I'm happy he's here, and he does an excellent job. You guys will, when you get to know him, you're going to like what he's all about. Get a chance to talk to him more.
Any guys that are going to be missing due to surgeries or injuries
There's
still?
going to be some guys they're going to be out there doing an awful lot. But same thing we had a year ago with that. We had some laborers again this year, and Nazi Johnson's a guy that'll be out there doing individual. Chris Jackson won't be going through the entire practice, but miss some contact part of it, as Revis did a year ago. I think we had 2 or 3 of them a year ago. I know Revis we had for sure, a couple guys who went around in red jerseys, but they'll all be out there. Ryan Beal missed a little bit, but he'll be out there running around.
Yeah, especially in the case of a Ryan D. Does that just, what he can do? Does that sort of give the young guys a chance to step up and
I think,
showcase their ability?
And Ryan D's a guy, he's only his 5th year. He's going to get the individual, he's going to get some things. But, I'm not more concerned about him missing a couple scrimmages in the spring, because he'll be 100% back full healthy here in the fall. So a lot of those guys will be on the field at times, and they'll be in the weight room at times, catching up on the strength part of it they missed, when they had the surgeries early on.
Doc, what's the status of Nate Devers?
Nate Devers is still suspended at this point, letting him get through the legal process. I've got to get with Mike Hamrick on that and find out exactly what he can do as far as practice is concerned. But he will be suspended for games until the legal part of it works itself out.
Let me ask. I got Chad Clay. I mean, he was a big level recruit originally, and where does he fit in?
Well, he's out there.
Yeah.
We hope, and he was a freshman a year ago, hadn't played. We're hoping he's had a good off season. We're anxious to see him get back out there. We need him to be a player. We need all these guys to be players.
Mm-hmm. Is he a corner or safety, or where are you going to put
him?
him?
He's working safety right now.
Okay.
So we'll see how it shakes out. We hope that with the Nazi missing parts of spring, part of the contact because of the surgery, that he'll get some work in there, see what he can do.
The hope is that you'll have 3 or 4 safeties, much like the rotation you had last year with Gant and Drayton and Revis and those
of course,
guys.
Malik Gant's back. Drayton's back. Malik. Nazi Johnson played an awful lot as a freshman last year as a safety. He's as athletic as any of them, so we like what he's all about. And Chad can get in there and play something. That gives us 4. So a couple guys will be out there in May. Nerion Washington's a guy that he'll practice this spring. He's a guy that didn't practice with us last fall, so he's cleared to practice this spring, and he'll be working both safety and corners. We'll see what he can do. So there'll be 4 or 5 bodies in there that will get a chance to look at.
This spring for the quarterbacks, obviously Alex Thompson will be here later on once he finishes stuff with Wagner, but for the quarterbacks that are here on campus, how important is this spring to sort of try and get a leg up in that race and to continue the to build this program with Chase Nolan?
Well, there's no question that one of them, they both both have had tremendous off seasons. We're both excited about Tim, working with Tim, and I'm anxious to get out there and watch, all three of those guys that are on campus. Of course, then Alex will be here in about 4 weeks, but he won't get spring ball. But those, I like those. We like Isaiah Green a lot. We like Garrett Morrell a lot. We like them all. So just excited. Jackson White's another guy that's held for us on extra points and done some things. So, they'll get their opportunity, and just watch them play.
Seems like it's been a decade since there wasn't a guy named Yurachek running a tight end. How different is that going to be without 85 there?
We're going to miss him now. I mean, in more ways than one. He's just such a tremendous kid. Just brought so much, off the, to the program, whether it be out there on the football field or off the field. And just a terrific ambassador for Marshall University, and he's just a great guy. We miss him a lot. He was back from pro day. It was good to see him back from pro day. He did really well in the pro day. But he'll get into camp somewhere, and he'll give it one shot. He told me, and if not, he'll be successful whatever he decides to do.
How do you think that Cody Mitchell, Xavier Gaines, some of those guys have learned under him and continue that tradition of Marshall Adams?
Well, I think like I said, I like Cody Mitchell played some a year ago. Armani, I might see Armani Levi. He's had a great winter. Armani's had a tremendous off season, and he was a JUCO kid that came in here a year ago. And a lot of times those guys aren't ready to play. When they haven't played a lot of football, and this was a great developmental winter for him. And so I'm anxious to see what he does. Devin Miller's put on probably 20 pounds, got a lot stronger, like what he's all about. And of course, Xavier Gaines has made great strides as far as his weight room and all those things. So there's 4 guys there that we like, all 4 of them, and it'll be fun to get out there and watch those guys move around.
Armani still have 2 years left, right?
Yes, 2 years.
Now are the kicking jobs pretty much wide open?
Yeah, I mean, we just, well, actually, because the kicker's gone. The guy did everything, right? He's one of those guys you look up and you're not going to appreciate him until he's not out there. And what a great kid he is. I mean, he's been very impressive at his workouts out here. We've had about every special team coach in the country come through here. A lot of them still coming, and I mean, he was averaging 5.5 hang times with his punts the other day. But I think the Titans, we're here with 2 coaches or somebody, but he's kicking off extremely well. He's punting extremely well. He's kicking extremely. And he's got a chance to be a pro, somewhere. And there's nobody. You talk about a kid deserves it. You all sit down and talk with this kid. He's not only he's like Yurachek. He's not just a tremendous athlete. He's a hell of a kid, and so we're so excited about the opportunity he's going to get. But to get back to what you said, the fever. We like you all seen the fever out there in practice. I like what he's all about. I mean, he's not was here to tell you he's Vedvik, because he hadn't done it consistently, but neither had Vedvik a year ago or 2 years ago. And so the fever, I think, has got a chance to be a really good punter for us. Kicked off at the NC State game and had twisted the ankle a little bit, but so he's been in the game. Justin coming in here, we like him a lot. He's an All-American junior college. Has done it in a college game, and I think he only missed 1 extra point 2 years and was solid with his field goals. So hopefully he comes in and he does it. Shane McDonough's here as a walk-on we like a lot. So there's 3 guys that we think have an opportunity to probably feel better about it right now than they did this time last year, to be honest. As far as because who we have on campus now, may not feel as good tomorrow after watching them, but right now I feel pretty good going.
Justin is here, or?
Oh yeah, he's here.
Ideally, would you like to split those duties up instead of going into a Vedvik situation where he's like the all-purpose specialist?
I think it's better. I mean, I think now Vedvik is one of those. He's a rare breed. There's not, you don't see that. I don't know how many people did that, or how many teams had a kicker that did all 3 last year. It'd be interesting. Did a good job for you, Steve, look that up. But how many actual teams last year had a kicker that did punted extra point field goals and also kicked off? So it'd be interesting to see the number of teams. But I've never had that except for last year here, anywhere all the years I've coached. So it'd be nice to have Justin be able to do something, and the fever or Shane do something else. So we'll see.
When you look at this list, a bunch of skill players coming back that are kind of headlining some of these positions.
Well, like I said, they all should be better. I thought towards the end of last year, Tyler King started coming around, and Keon's played his best football. He's led us in all-purpose yardage the last 2 years. And, I I'm anxious to see Knox. Knox is a guy that, we redshirted a year ago, but prior to preseason camp, I like what I saw out of him. Of course, Anthony Anderson's back. He looks better. He's looked since he's been here. So we got 4 guys there and, a couple of young guys waiting to come up and play. So, I like those guys. Receivers are probably as good a bunch as we've had since I've been here overall, with Brady and Marcel and Willie and Obi and, all 4 of those guys are back. We need some young guys to step up with some depth, and as we've got a bunch of them coming in, so. feel
Brady
pretty-
injury free.
Say it again.
Is Brady injury
Yeah.
free?
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. So, those guys all should be, ready to go and anxious to watch them, like I say, run around out there.
Does that kind of light up the offensive coordinator's eyes?
Yeah, it's part of the reason he came here. You could look at those guys and I feel pretty good, but, like I tell them all the time, I said, if all potential doesn't get you beat, it's all about production, and these guys gotta go out and do it out here, and they have, so it's gotta be more consistent in what they do, and, see how it goes.
On the flip side, a lot of linebacker experience back and having a new linebackers coach in the mix, how much does that help him with that transition and Adam, being a former linebacker coach, helping out that situation as well?
No doubt. Like I say, we like all those guys. Our job is, as it always is, it's, what was, this time last year, nobody even thought Couch could even play here. It was a guy that this time last year, he was a linebacker who could play. By the time spring ball was over, we felt like we had a pretty good player, ended up being a captain, and was a big part of our success a year ago defensively. So, we need other guys like that to step up and emerge. That's what spring football's all about. So, it's about getting the best players on the field, and there's some young guys out there that hadn't done a whole lot to this point that need to, step up and become players.
But with that, log jam at linebacker, you see anybody going down the end?
It could be, yeah. Could be. We're probably, Juwan Young's a guy that we may look at in a couple different places, so, again, just trying to get our best people on the field. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. We'll probably take a look at him some at both him and Couch, or even splitting those guys at Fox and defensive end at the time, so, again, just to get, you get Chase Hancock, who's, I think, is as good a player as linebackers in the league. I thought he should have been all conference a year ago. And, you got him back. Artise Johnson's become a really good player for us. Sam Backer, and you got Yuli's gonna play linebacker, and he's back at linebacker. And he thinks an excellent young prospect. So again, trying to get your best 11 on the field, you just got to move one of those guys to try to help us somewhere else, and we'll make that move.
Doug, what drew you, what attracted you to Alex Thompson?
I think just his, we talk about the quarterback position, a lot of his intangibles. He's got his 3.8 finance student at Wagner, which is an excellent school, and he's just got such leadership skills. He's got such toughness, and just especially when you get him on the visit, you get in a home too. You walk in that home, and it's just blue collar, hard-working people that just just go to work every day, and that's what this guy is. Kids rally around him, and he's just and talking to Phil Sims and some of the people that he surrounded himself with, and you turn the film and watch him throw the ball. That's nice to do. So, we'll see how it goes, but we're excited about him, as we are.